Hey, so it's time for my unknown pleasures. A couple weeks ago, I picked this record behind me, which is Gang of Four's Solid Gold, um, from my girlfriend's collection. I had never heard it. I definitely know of Gang of Four. I have had a couple of comps. I know they're a big influence on a lot of bands I like. So I thought, hey, I should listen to this one. And I believe I had heard Entertainment before. But as part of this, I want to listen to both of them with a focus on this one. I think my takeaway is that I probably would play Entertainment more. It has some songs that I know a lot better, like At Home He's a Tourist, which has just been stuck in my head, much like XTC's Waiting for Nigel was stuck in my head a couple weeks ago after I watched a documentary on XTC. Um, but I really like the sound of this one. I like the rhythm of it, the kind of jerkiness of it, and the sound of the guitar just kind of slash in and out. I think is really cool. It's definitely, I think, maybe a little bit less memorable than the first one. Although I find every time I listen to it, things pop out a little bit more. I'm not sure if there are any singles off of it, and I'm not sure, how much more I'll dig into Gang of Four stuff. I think these two records, the first one, Entertainment, and this one will probably be the records that I pick the most to listen to. But I definitely want to spend some more time with this record. It's not a record for me that revealed itself immediately, but every time I play it, I'm just kind of hearing new things. But mostly it's that rhythm and the guitars coming in and out, and kind of the way the guy, the singer, sings, his delivery. That's probably one of my least favorite things at first, but now I'm starting to really like it. So definitely warming up to it. And for me, it is definitely leaning towards a record that is more on the pleasurable scale than not. So that's what I have for this week's Unknown Pleasures. And now it's time for me to pick another one, and the record behind it is not going to be the one, which is that record, because that one came out a whole 4 months ago. That's or 5 months ago. That's the Nationals' first two pages of Frankenstein, which honestly I still kind of consider a new record. It's still out in my currently playing, little shelf. I pick it out somewhat often and play it, and it's still kind of a record I'm getting into. I like it much better than I like the advanced singles. I feel like it has a really nice flow. I put on uh, somewhere near a poolside, or that first song on it, and I instantly am kind of into the record and let it play all the way through. There's a Taylor Swift song on there, or duet anyway, which I don't really care for that much. Nothing against Taylor Swift. And there's a lot of guest vocalists on it, but you can't really tell so much. They're very much in the background. But I actually like the mood of this record, especially, yeah, I like the first side a lot. Saw them live this summer back in June or July, and that kind of opened things up for me a little bit too. But surprise, surprise, they have a new record out, which is almost the same exact cover. It's that kid with that mannequin head and the word Paul on it. My name is Paul, which there's even a song on the new one that references this Paul guy. Still don't know who the Paul guy is. If anybody does know, please let me know. I'd love to know. But basically, the new album is pretty much this cover, except it's in color. And instead of nothing behind the kid, there's like, it looks like somebody's like living room, kind of cluttered. Like I think it's like a Zoom background. I don't know if it's supposed to mean that, but it's called Laugh Track. Like I said, pretty much identical. You could almost confuse them if somebody was describing the cover hey, pick up that record with the kid that's holding a helmet that says Paul on it. It's going to either be first two pages of Frankenstein or Laugh Track. Anyway, Laugh Track is going to be my next unknown pleasure for a couple of reasons. First, it's brand new, just got springed on me. Came out on Monday, and that's a good reason, right? But the other reason is digital, and I'm going to be doing some traveling, and I will be away from my records, and it's digital is the only way we're going to hear it until I think November when the vinyl comes out. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time with Laugh Track and probably compare both of them, but focus on Laugh Track, much like I just did with Gang of Four. But it'll be a little bit more in depth because I've heard this band a lot. I know a lot about this band. I've seen them live. I met the members. There's much more of a story there and much more of a tie to my personal life. So anyway, next time, Unknown Pleasures will be Laugh Track by The National, which is now streaming everywhere. But like I said, I won't be out on digital for a while. So I want to try something new as a second part of this video, and that is to pick a ticket randomly from all my ticket stubs that I recently gathered. I think it's all of them. It's hard to say. There may be another collection somewhere. I used to have them all over the place. I used to always slide the ticket stub underneath the plastic of a CD case between the booklet and the plastic casing, and did that for years. I'd pull out a CD and it could jog my memory of what era I saw them in, who opened up, all that stuff. And recently, unfortunately, everything is like digital, so there are no real ticket stubs, which I think is such a bummer. So when I pull one of these ticket stubs out of my collection at random, I'm gonna try to tell a story about it, try to remember where I was, what the circumstance was, how the band was, as much as I can remember. And it's probably kind of like Mazzy's whack-a-mole, picking records and just at random and talking about them. But for me, this is going to be a concert. So let's try it. And hopefully I won't fail miserably at this. Okay. Guided by Voices, First Avenue, Minneapolis, August 31st, 2016. I do remember this. I remember this as being might have been the only time that I've seen Guided by Voices where I was disappointed. And this was Robert Pollard back with members that would form the new Guided by Voices. So, oh boy, I'm put on the spot for who's in the band. But Doug Gillard was back, and Bobby Bear, and I want to say Mark Shue maybe, and I can't remember the drummer's name, but anyway, they had gotten back together, sort of. I mean, so Doug's back in the band, and the classic lineup had ended. Guided by Voices had broken up again. Robert Pollard was probably didn't look too likely to be putting out more Guided by Voices records. Did put out several solo records as he usually does, and different band names and all that. And then he came back with this record under Guided by Voices names called "Please Forgive Me." And he did that by himself. Yeah, even though it said Guided by Voices, he thought it sounded good enough that he wanted to put that name back on there. He toured it. I caught him at this stop with a band that would eventually become his band, Guided by Voices, this latest incarnation, and start putting out records featuring that whole band going forward. And they put out so many of them now. It's crazy. They have a new one out like every 6 months. And a lot of it's really good, but I do remember this show as just being very lackluster. Maybe my expectations were too high, having Doug back in the band, at least on this tour, but at the time. But I just remember, I don't know, I was sick of it. It didn't really do much for me. I remember watching most of it from the balcony, and that is so unlike most times that I've seen Guided by Voices, which is a complete party and so much fun, including the last couple times I've seen them. Both here in Seattle and before in San Francisco. And this is just on the last time here in Seattle was like a year ago, and the last time in San Francisco was probably 4 years ago, right before COVID. So not that long ago, and they're always great. But for some reason on this night, they just weren't that great. So that's my story. I don't remember. It says with special guests. I don't remember who opened up. I'd have to look it up on Setlist.fm or something like that to figure that out. But doors were at 7:30, showtime was at 8:30. It was a 18 plus show, general admission, and the ticket was $25 before whatever fees they slapped on top of it. But that's what I got. I posted a really silly video recently. I don't know if anybody saw it. It's just kind of goofy, but it was me trying something a little bit different. I thought it might qualify as a YouTube short, but then I realized I'd have to put it in portrait mode, which kind of ruined the whole thing. But yeah, I'd like to kind of keep things fresh and try some new things. So that's what that was. But anyway, thanks everyone. I'll talk to you soon.